Welcome back to NewsWire here on SportsGrid. I'm Craig Mish, joined by Jacob Kamaker of USA Today to go over the latest in the National Football League. Jacob, great to have you back here on the show. And let's dive right in. One of the bigger upsets of the week and maybe even of the season, the Rams, huge favorites going into Carolina, and the Panthers picking up the win here. I mean, I suppose, Jacob, really, in the end, every team is going to lose 3 or 4 games. I mean, let's be honest, very few teams are going to make runs like the Patriots did years ago and the Miami Dolphins when they went undefeated as well. But give all the credit to the Panthers hanging in the game. I mean, the Rams even had the ball late in this one with a chance to go up, and the Panthers defense held firm. They could be on the verge of something special. Maybe not this year, but next year definitely appears to be in the mix.
I agree with you there, Craig. And I've always been a big fan of Dave Canales as a coach. I thought, his first year in Tampa Bay, he did a great job with Baker Mayfield. I was excited about what he might be able to do with Bryce Young. And we're sort of seeing that come to fruition this second year in that Canales system. Young hasn't been overly consistent, but he's had some of these flash games. And I would describe this as one. I believe he threw for 3 touchdown passes. And, he just made some clutch throws, some downfield shots to Tetairoa McMillan on that game-winning play there. So I think there's a lot to be excited about from the Panthers' perspective. And I think if you look at this from the Rams' perspective too, Craig, you're right. Teams are just going to lose a handful of games. It just happens. Their defense just didn't have the best outing this last week. They have a really young front there, and sometimes this season they just haven't been able to get as much pressure as you would think. So I think this is less a problem about, hey, the Rams are in trouble at this point. No, they still have a great roster. It's just a blip on the radar, and they will be A-okay going forward.
Meanwhile, the San Francisco 49ers take care of their business against the Cleveland Browns, a game that really wasn't all that close. In fact, I would say, Jacob, that the 49ers, as we start to get into November and December, surging here a little bit. Christian McCaffrey does what he does, which is, score a bunch of touchdowns. But, Brown's not a really formidable offense at this point, and whoever you put in front of the 49ers, they're going to need to get some wins here. Despite the offensive play, they pick up a win 26-8 in Cleveland.
Yeah, this game sort of boiled down to we all kind of anticipated Shedeur Sanders would maybe have some struggles against the 49ers in his second start. And Sanders wasn't terrible by any stretch, but he did have some of those long sacks, big losses show up in this game. He avoided turning the ball over, which was good news for the Browns. But they really didn't ask him to do a whole lot. They tried to lean on their running game to carry the offense, and it just wasn't enough. But again, Sanders showed some flashes. He had a really nice touchdown throw to Harold Fannin Jr. So I think you come out of this game if you're the Browns and you say, hey, we're seeing some encouraging signs. We'll give him the rest of the season, see what he can do. Maybe he only ends up being a backup caliber player, but I'm not overly concerned about what he's kind of been doing in his first couple starts with the Browns. And the 49ers, as you mentioned, they're right there in that NFC West race with the Rams losing. They're about a half game back. They're going into their bye next week. So this 3-horse race is going to be very, very exciting, Craig. I think the Rams are rightly favored in this one. But, hey, all it takes is one slip up for any of these teams, and you can open the door for someone to pass you. So I think that division race is going to be one of the best we've seen in a while, Craig.
49ers get the week off this coming week. Meanwhile, there's a new team in first place in the AFC South. Jacksonville Jaguars, Jacob, here we go. Jaguars now on the verge of maybe even getting a bye. Who knows? 25-3. Again, the Titans are kind of like facing the Raiders or like a bye week at this point. Unfortunately for them, it just hasn't gone their way. But Jacksonville surging here a little bit down the stretch. Jacob, they gave away some games, earlier this season too. Their record could be a lot better. And don't look now, but Liam Cohen has them going in the right direction. I think they're not only going to make the playoffs, but with the way that the AFC and NFC is at this point, who would you even say is a favorite at this point? I mean, Jacksonville plus 150 to win the AFC South. Certainly they've done their best to stay in this thing, and had they beaten Houston, when Houston came all the way back, they'd be winning the division easily.
Yeah, absolutely. I think you look at the Jaguars, and this is kind of it's a microcosm of what the AFC is this year. There's a lot of teams. There's no clear-cut favorites. There are a lot of teams that you can look at and say they have some awards, but with a little bit better luck, they would be maybe the best team in the division. And I think for the Jaguars' perspective, their defense just needs to play more consistently. And if they can develop that running game a little bit more, I know it wasn't overly successful against the Titans, but Trevor Lawrence is playing well enough in Liam Cohen's system that this could end up being a tougher team to beat in the postseason than I think a lot of people thought just a couple of weeks ago.
All right, Jacob, thanks for coming on the show. Really appreciate it. We'll catch up next week here on NewsWire, and we'll see you then.
Sounds good, Craig. Take care.
We'll take a quick break. We'll be back with more NewsWire here on this Monday after this.
Close to $1 million in volume being traded right now in the Offensive Player of the Year. If you did put $100 down on Jonathan Taylor, that would pay back $143, so a 43% increase on your money that you had. There are a lot of long shots in here, but it doesn't feel like those would be good bets. Like, hey, I'm going to put it on Justin Herbert. Well, yeah, if Justin Herbert wins it, Joe, a $100 wager would pay back $10,000. They even have a market for if you want to bet Malik Neighbors.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
He's the fan favorite. They love talking about Stafford, the 38-year-old guy. He's the Super Bowl champ. We got the family. Any opportunity to pump McVay and Stafford as a team, they do that. They love this team. They love Aaron Donald, and rightfully so. Best defensive player, but they love to pump up Stafford.
Pro Football Today, only on SportsGrid.
What are those things called?
A shooting star.
Yeah, okay, I'll go with that one. Like, it just burns up quick. And you love it while you can see it, and bing, it's gone in the blink of an eye.
Right.
That's my fear for Cam Scatterby.
Yeah, and that's not a big deal, but I will say it's weird, and it seems like he really enjoys that attention, which is all fine because he's a young guy,
Yeah.
but possibly dangerous in a city like New York.
The Craig Carton Show, only on SportsGrid.
The play is Our Fam. You don't know about Our Fam? Go look her up on social media. Go look at YouTube. 19-year-old from Spain, 6'6", block shots, runs the floor, rebounds, post up, inside, outside, pop the corn, serve the beer, and it can clean up the mess when you're done eating your meal. This lady is absolutely fantastic.
Pro Basketball Today, only on SportsGrid.
And welcome back to NewsWire here on SportsGrid. Let's check in on the post-Thanksgiving holiday for our very own Joe Ranieri here of SportsGrid. He was working this morning, got him working this afternoon. Of course, you catch him on the weekends for football as well. Joe, I mean, man, a lot to cover here. I don't even know where to begin. We could begin with Lane Kiffin. We could begin with some pro football. We could begin with my Gators, FSU. I mean, so many different ways to go, but let's go back quickly to Thanksgiving first, and let me be candid here with you, Joe. So I, not only with the betting, have like these pools that I'm in. I got all three games wrong on Thursday. I don't think that has ever happened to me on Thanksgiving, getting all three games wrong. I took Kansas City, I took Detroit, and I took Baltimore, right? Those are the three games to win.
Yep.
I mean, some very surprise results in the NFL this season. Can anybody? I mean, are the Packers like the favorite in the NFC now to win the Super Bowl after that win against the Lions? I mean, could be anybody's at this point.
It absolutely could be. I mean, and a heck of a way to start off, right? The week 13 is that you had three games on Thursday, one on Friday, and you had four outright underdog winners. Which did wonders for people in survivor pools around the country there, Craig, because not one favorite who was supposed to win in the first four games this week did win, and it all started thanks to Detroit and Green Bay, with Green Bay pulling a page out of Dan Campbell's book, going for it on fourth down every chance they could, and they ended up pulling out 2 touchdowns on fourth down plays. And meanwhile, Detroit and Dan Campbell, every time they went for something on fourth down, they couldn't get it done. And just like that, fourth down variance becoming a real part of handicapping the NFL moving forward.
Yeah, whoever goes for it is the team you want at this point, especially fourth and like less than 5 or less. Love threw 4 interceptions. And right now, I mean, all of a sudden, Green Bay is less than 10-1 to win the Super Bowl. That's incredible. Plus 950. That was my pick at the beginning of the season. I wasn't feeling really good about that, and now I'm feeling a lot better about that. Now, I got to tell you, watching the Bears-Eagles game on Friday, Joe, just sort of reminded me a lot of what I saw from the Eagles 2 years ago, which was the month of November hit, and all of a sudden, it was a wrap for them. They couldn't win any games, and they sort of crawled into the playoffs and got knocked out. I'm not sure what I'm seeing with the Bears is even legitimate at this point, but I got to give them credit. They're 9-3 on the season. That makes the best record in the NFC. They've been running the ball really well. It feels like those two running backs that Ben Johnson is using, Joe, with Monangai and Swift, is a lot like the two guys they had in Detroit with, of course, Gibbs and Montgomery. So maybe that is the secret sauce, is Ben Johnson, not only a good coach, but knows how to deploy these running backs well.
No, and listen, I mean, if you would have told Eagles backers, right, that, hey, get ready, your vaunted defense is going to give up 250 yards on the ground, they all would have laughed at you. But that's exactly what's happening. And I tell you, a big reason as to why it's happening is because the offense, this Eagles offense, leads the NFL in 3-and-out percentage. They are always on the offense on the field, off the field. The defense has to go back on the field. And what we're starting to see is, well, this was a defense that had to deal and weather some injuries early on, but now they're just out on the field the entire game. They were out on that field, couldn't get off the field, and every time the offense came back out, it was 3-and-out. They can't run the ball. They can't complete anything down the field. Everyone looks disjointed. And we are December 1st, Craig. When is that? Are we flipping a switch? Is that what we think happens here? You have to have legitimate concerns about the Eagles' chances of going further in the postseason. I think they've won enough games to be able to, get back into the postseason, but I'm not sure who we think they're beating come January.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, look, at least A.J. Brown's starting to go off here. 18 catches, 242 yards, and 3 touchdowns. But the issue has been and seems to be moving forward. The Eagles cannot put two halves of football together at all in any game. And they played better in the second half. I think had they not fumbled on the tush push, maybe things would have went differently, but that was it. Meanwhile, the Cowboys have put themselves back into at least the mix of the playoffs. It's going to be tough for them to get in. 3 teams in the NFC West just seemingly dominating the season, but they beat the Chiefs 31-28. Dak Prescott, Joe, had 320 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 1 interception. Dallas is still very formidable at home, right? Like, that's the one thing that you could say. When they're at home, it feels like they're going to win games. Their defense still struggling to stop anybody, but if they can keep those wins coming at home, maybe they play themselves into a final week needing some help to get in.
Well, and I think, there's a lot of teams, I think, in the NFC that better hope the Cowboys don't make it, because that offense is extremely dangerous. That whole Pickens, CeeDee Lamb combination, now and coupling with running the ball and quietly Dak Prescott putting up MVP numbers. And just like that, I hate to give Jerry credit. I mean, he told everyone to be patient. He had some moves, and not just getting Quinnen Williams here, but getting healthy again in the linebacker and the secondary positions has really transformed this defense. I think what you're going to see, Greg, is Dallas is a different team defensively on the road. That defense will travel, and I think that offense should scare a lot of teams in the NFC.
So tonight, Joe, we have a Monday Night Football game, which feels like the most anonymous Monday Night Football game of the season. I got to be honest. It's like, when you think about it, we had games Thursday, we had games Friday, we had all the college football. Then so it's like now by the time we got to Monday and then watched that game last night, like, is anybody even interested, I would ask, in this game tonight? The Patriots play at home against the Giants. I see mostly 7.5, and I guess if you're a Giants backer, you're looking for the hook there. And the total is 46.5. Jackson Dart will be back. The Giants are seemingly running the ball a little bit better. Winston played better on offense, finding Wan'Dale Robinson. I'm sure they'll try to do that. I feel like New England wins this game, Joe, but based on what I saw this weekend in the NFL, maybe expect the unexpected.
I would absolutely do that. And I would listen, Craig, and I think you nailed one of the teams earlier. 2 of the most overrated teams in the NFL right now, the Chicago Bears and the New England Patriots. The New England Patriots will have not 1, but 2 very key offensive linemen not available to them here tonight. And you've got every time I turn around, the Patriots, sure, they win, but they don't win by margin, Craig. They don't win by more than 7 points. If you can get the hook, grab it.
Have a great week, Joe. Thanks again.
See you again.
Be right back. Let's play our game of buy or sell. Buy or sell. Thursday night football should end after week 10, George. You going to buy or sell this?
It's too short a week. It's not healthy for the players. You'll never be able to convince me otherwise here. The NFL will tell you, oh, stats tell us no, it's not more injuries. And that's all BS. All right. Should it end after week 10? In a perfect world, there probably should be no Thursday night games. Should it end after week 10? Sure, I'll buy this. But it's not going to. There's too much money here. It's never going to end, all right? They're going to have it forever. You're lucky there's not a Friday, Saturday schedule as well, and there's some laws involved there as to why there's not. The NFL is going to have a schedule or for any day they can get here. It's all about money here. And if the players don't want it, by the way, you're going to realize, well, you're going to lose a significant chunk of revenue out of your salary as well here.
Right.
So I'll buy this, but it doesn't matter. It's not going away.
I mean, George just basically said everything that I was going to say, so what is the reality? The games, so of course I'll buy it. The games are not good. Generally, the home team has a big advantage. If not, the teams are not prepared to play on Thursday night. Yes, there have been some upsets and some underdogs winning. We saw it Thursday night. But the quality of play on Thursday is lower than what it is on the weekends. And there's no end in sight to it because of what George said, the money. That's just all that matters. If Amazon Prime doesn't take it, Netflix will take it. If they don't take it, Apple will take it. If they don't take it, somebody else will take it. I don't know. Hulu, I don't know. You make it up. Someone will. So it is not going away. And, generally speaking, I'm excited every week when the games begin, and then I forget, and then the games usually stink, and I'm like, oh, gosh, this game wasn't good anyway. So George is right. Not going away because of the money.
Fantasy Sports Today. Friday, starting at 3 p.m. Only on SportsGrid.
Welcome back to NewsWire here on SportsGrid. Some big coaching news in college football transpiring over the weekend, and a firing as well, as Mark Stoops fired by the University of Kentucky after having a winning record with Kentucky, which is not something a lot of coaches have done through the year. So they're looking for a new head coach as well. But just to recap everything that happened, in case you missed it, the biggest news, of course, of the weekend was Lane Kiffin coaching in the Egg Bowl, Mississippi beating Mississippi State, and then drama ensuing for about 24, 36 hours as Kiffin decides to leave Mississippi, asks to still coach the team before he leaves, is told no, and then goes on a plane to Baton Rouge and is now the new head coach of the LSU Tigers. So he moves forward with them. Their defensive coordinator takes over and will be the full-time coach at Mississippi. Kiffin will have all of his playoff bonuses paid by LSU, and naturally LSU is already paying another coach in Brian Kelly to walk away. Also, the University of Florida Gators hired a new head coach. His name is John Sumrall. He's the head coach at Tulane. A little bit of a difference here is that the Gators season is over, and Tulane is still playing for what could potentially be an appearance in the college football championship. The leadership at Tulane is letting Sumrall still coach at Tulane, and he will finish in approximately a month or less, and then he'll be the next head coach of the Florida Gators. So certainly there's a lot to unpack. It is college football championship week. It feels like 9 or 10 teams are pretty much locked into the college football championship, but we're still going to wait on a couple that are left. So let's get the landscape as to where things stand with our very own Rich Sermonillo, who has a preview of championship week upcoming.
Craig, the regular season in college football is over. It's championship week, a chance to really dig in, do a deep dive on 9 games in the FBS, 9 conference championships. It's going to impact the playoffs, Craig, but more so from the standpoint of seedings. I think we're sort of close to being set with the field of 12 in the college football playoff. We're likely looking at 5 teams from the SEC already in, regardless of what happens in Atlanta between Georgia and Alabama. I do think Alabama, even with a loss, barring something disastrous, I mean, unless they completely have a dumpster fire, even at 10-3, I think Alabama is in. We're looking at 3 Big Ten teams, both combatants, Ohio State and Indiana, playing in Indianapolis. They're in, so is Oregon. Again, seeding is the key here. I do think Ohio State, Indiana, both of those teams will get first-round byes. I think they'll both be in the top 4. It really now comes down to who is the top overall seed. So that is 8 teams. We've got the Big 12 champ, likely to be Texas Tech. I think they beat BYU again easily, handle them in November 29-7, big disparity in yards. I think Texas Tech continues to roll. That's number 9. ACC champ. This is where it gets kind of interesting. Virginia against Duke. I expect Duke to win. I expect Virginia to win. I think Virginia covers a small number. I think they could win this game by double digits. Dominated Duke in Durham back in November. If Virginia wins, they're in. If Virginia loses, if it is Duke as the champ, they're not going to be one of the 5 highest rated conference champs. You could see James Madison. We could have 2 group of 5 teams if Duke does win. Could be James Madison and the American champ. So we could be looking at a combination of JMU and North Texas, or JMU and Tulane. UNT goes to New Orleans to play Tulane this weekend. That should be a very good game. Both of those teams, by the way, have coaches that are now headed to the P4. Eric Morris of North Texas accepted the Oklahoma State job. And just a couple of days ago, John Sumrall from Tulane is headed to the Swamp. He'll coach Florida. So that essentially, if I'm correct, leaves 1 spot. This is where it gets really compelling. The 2 teams going at it, Notre Dame and Miami, a lot of debate. I think we're going to see a lot of debate moving forward over the next week, Craig. I'm in the camp that I can't see how you leave Miami out. Both teams are at 10-2. Schedules have been up and down. Notre Dame has rolled through the last 10, but haven't really faced a lot of great opponents. I think it has to be Miami. Miami beat Notre Dame in week 1, head-to-head win. I think it's got to be the Canes, but that ND mystique is going to be hard to beat. Game to keep in mind, Craig, Big 12. If for some reason BYU upsets Texas Tech, you'll have 2 Big 12 teams. That would knock out that ND or Miami at-large bid. So Big 12, Irish fans, Canes fans, they're going to be rooting for Texas Tech very hard if they want to get to the playoffs.
The future of the prediction markets, I think, at least for now, may be in the hands of the federal courts. But the good news for those who support prediction markets is that these court battles may last for another 2 to 3 years before we get clarity around the law. And nominee Seelig was handpicked by Donald Trump, not because he was neutral on prediction markets, but because he would do nothing to slow it down.
NewsWire, only on SportsGrid.
When LeBron James decides he's retiring, it is coming with trumpets blaring, Adam Silver by his side, and he is going on a state-by-state, coast-to-coast tour so that everyone can acknowledge how great he was and give him a parting gift and thank him for his amazing contributions to the NBA.
The Craig Carton Show, only on SportsGrid.
The play is our fam. You don't know about our fam? Go look her up on social media. Go look at YouTube. 19-year-old from Spain, 6'6", block shots, runs the floor, rebounds, post up, inside, outside, pop the corn, serve the beer, and it can clean up the mess when you're done eating your meal. This lady is absolutely fantastic.
Pro basketball today, only on SportsGrid.
Football contest season is back, and so is the Las Vegas Football Contest Show. Season 2, the sharpest football contest show in the land. Focusing on all 3 Circus Sports contests and the Westgate Superbook Super Contest, we handicap the games and release our contest picks every week of the season. Featuring Super Contest champions Brady Cannon, James Salinas, and former NFL player Mike Pritchard, all team will have you prepared this season like none other. Check us out every weekend right here on SportsGrid.
Welcome back to NewsWire here on SportsGrid. Amidst all of the Thanksgiving and all of the football, part of what we do here on the show is try to prepare to go on the air. It sometimes doesn't go the way it's supposed to. But part of my thinking this weekend, it's rare that I would think of Adam Kaplan, but I was kind of this weekend mulling over these results and thinking, is Adam Kaplan going to throw some team at me that won in his circle of trust this weekend? This guy cannot keep coming on and finding the team that looked really good last week and now they're in Mr. I am not buying this. No one, Adam, and listen, I love you, but no one deserves to be in your circle of trust. No one. There is not a team in the NFL after watching it. Listen, if you want to just take the team that looked good and now they have 9 wins or 8 wins, that's fine. But with the Rams losing yesterday to the Panthers, and certainly just the sideways notion of the season, by the way, and the Eagles too, I think we are headed toward an incredible playoffs. I think the Super Bowl not just going to feature one team that we can't predict at this point. It may even feature 2 teams at this point that we don't expect. I mean, March Madness is the NFL, and what's going on right now. I want to get to the injuries, and I want to get to a lot of that, but I don't have a favorite. I don't. I feel like you can make some money on FanDuel picking some team that's 15-1 to get to the Super Bowl.
I would say this but there's a lot to unpack there. Remember what I said, I don't know, the first 3 or 4 weeks. I said, hey, because you asked me why does the league look like it does? I said, because everyone I talked to in my training camp tour said there are no dominant teams. And that's played out. I'm a little surprised by this. No.
Yeah.
Let me give Kevin Walsh credit, who hosts Pro Football Today. He told me, he's very matter of fact, the Panthers are going to cover that 10. And it wasn't even despite all their injuries and their inconsistency, he's like, look, the 3 time zones for the Rams, that's real, by the way. It's a non-divisional game. It's a conference game. And I was like, well, to me, if I happen to be betting, I would make it a no play because the Rams are way better. But some of what you're talking about is absolutely valid. And that absolutely showed up. I kept waiting for the Rams to come back and win the game. They didn't.
Me too.
Stafford threw 28 touchdowns without a pick. He threw 2. One was returned for a score. Yeah, you're absolutely right about this. It's completely wide open. This is my 27th year of covering this business. I don't remember it. I'd have to go back and look. A year that is so wide open. You make a very good point. The Rams right now, Craig, as we get ready to send it back to you, are the best NFL team right now. Now, you can make an argument for a couple other teams pushing them, which will probably happen. But the bottom line is there are no dominant teams, and that's why the future numbers are great right now, because the odds makers don't know. Look, by the way, the odds makers were pushing the Chiefs up to last week to win the Super Bowl. Are you kidding?
Yeah.
Please.
Yeah, so the season that I can recall it being like this was not a team, because the Patriots it was during the Patriots run. Ironically, it was when, Adam, Jake Delhomme and Steve Smith and the Panthers got to the Super Bowl. That was the year for me in the NFC that was just bonkers. You had no idea week to week who the best team was, and Carolina just sort of by default just kind of won some games and got there. I don't think they were ever the favorite in any of the games that they played with that team. So to me, that sort of reminds me of that. But we're going to get to all of this. The first thing, let's get the update here on injuries here, because Justin Herbert is the top story today. fractured left hand, if I'm not mistaken here. We did see Aaron Rodgers play with that, and it didn't go really well. So are the Chargers willing to not have Herbert for a week and then try to get him back after that, taking a cue from I think the Steelers probably should have sat Rodgers yesterday. He looked awful.
Well, a couple things. Rodgers, right, but Rodgers didn't have a procedure where Herbert's going to have it fixed today.
Okay.
So how that goes will determine whether he gets clear to play. He's already made it clear, I'm playing ... as long as I'm clear to play, is what it really meant yesterday. And Trey Lance is an interesting backup. He is his backup, and they'll go from there. And look, they weren't really tested yesterday against a really bad Raiders team that changed their offense coordinator, Greg Olson, who is now in their third time around as their coordinator over a series of different tenures. But the Chargers are a very interesting team. See, it's funny you bring up the uncertainty, right? They have a phenomenal defense, not the most talented, but Jesse Minter is a phenomenal coordinator. Talking to teams that have played them, this is kind of how I look at it based on what people have told me. Pre-snap, you get one thing. Post-snap, you get another. Okay? It's very confusing, their defense. Offensively now, Omarion Hampton might play next Monday night when they host the Eagles. They, as good as Kamani Vidal's been, and boy, for fantasy, he's been a find. Hampton is super explosive. And for the people like my friend Greg Kosel from NFL Films, who liked Hampton way better than Genty, you could see why. Genty is a specific type player. Craig, you and I talked about him months ago. Not explosive. He's a run after contact running back. How many running backs do you see like that anymore? Very few, if any. So that's why Genty has not proven out to be great so far, but they're going to have a new coordinator next season. We'll see how he does. But it is wide open. The Chargers could absolutely do it. There's no question in my mind. If you can get on a run, you can go far this year.
Have the Bears and the Packers become what you would think would be the class of the division at this point? I am a little stunned that the Lions have looked like they looked. It feels like, and I mentioned this in the previous segment, I don't know if Ben Johnson's a good coach, a great coach. I have no idea. But it appears to me that he just took that running back system in Detroit and is doing exactly what they did there, and that is working in Chicago.
Well, you got to give Ryan Poles credit, their GM. 3 new offensive linemen, 2 acquired via trade. Joe Tooney, who people thought was washed up, he's not. He's not playing left tackle anymore. He's not a left tackle. He was in college, but not in the pros. He had to do it late last season. He's one of the Chiefs' 4 left tackles. It didn't go well, so he's traded to Chicago. He looks great. But here's what I was told with Ben Johnson. In their building, they know there's a major buy-in with this head coach. You might have seen the social media clip where he took his shirt off, went crazy in the locker room after beating Philly in Lincoln Financial Stadium. Total buy-in. As someone from the Lions told me, I remember this exactly. He said it'll take 4 months to see if the players buy in or not, because he's going to get after them so hard. They're either going to respond and want to be great, or they're going to rebel. They have not rebelled. They've got total buy-in. Now, you look at them right now, the number 1 seed in the NFC. They got to play this game this week. Let's see what happens against the Packers. And the thing is, though, they just won on the road. That is big for a rookie head coach, Craig, to have a winning record on the road in your first year, have the number 1 seed. This is not unprecedented, but this is pretty significant to me. And Caleb Williams, he's not turning it over much at all. He's not taking sacks like crazy like he did last year. He's playing under control. Most turnovers forced in the National Football League. And Green Bay, I did pick them, for the record, on SportsGrid to start the season. I did pick them over Detroit. I thought Detroit would fall off a little bit. On your point, I didn't see this. I would agree with you.
Yeah, I do too. Okay, so last week here on the show, I'm going to bring something up that's actually kind of funny for fantasy. I never really considered this. So it was since Nathan Peterman. I was watching the game with my son. And I was trying to explain to him. He's young. My son is 13. I was trying to explain to him that there was a quarterback. His name was Nathan Peterman. He's the only one that I can remember that was like as bad as this guy Brosmer was in Minnesota. And then somebody tweeted out today that it was the worst first start ever in the history of the NFL at quarterback since Nathan Peterman. I can't take credit for this. Someone on social media said, Adam, I mean, this is wild. You should cut Jefferson so someone plays him next week. How awful is that? It's true, though. It is true. I look, all the credit to Seattle, but what is going on here? I was so wrong. I didn't think anybody could be worse than McCarthy. I was so wrong.
You know, it's funny because his best throw was a drop by Addison in the first half. But
yes,
I remember you actually brought it up to me last week about Jefferson. It's in a dynasty league. There's no way I'm trading him because they're going to get it right. And McCarthy will start once he's cleared out a concussion protocol. They've got to get an answer. And next year, if it doesn't get better, they're going to have to bring in a quarterback at the very least to compete against him. But good luck finding quarterbacks. That's the problem, Craig. Right now, you're seeing, man, it's a quarterback-starved league. Marcus Mariota, he did pretty well last night. Didn't win the game, but he did pretty well.
Right. Yeah. No, I mean, it's funny that people are still saying if Arch Manning comes out, he's still, and I've watched him all season. I don't think he's that great, but in this quarterback-starved league, he's probably enters as the 17th best quarterback in the NFL immediately, man. It's just crazy talk. All right, so the circle of trust conversation is next.
The future of the prediction markets, I think, at least for now, may be in the hands of the federal courts. But the good news for those who support prediction markets is that these court battles may last for another 2 to 3 years before we get clarity around the law. And nominee Seelig was handpicked by Donald Trump, not because he was neutral on prediction markets, but because he would do nothing to slow it down.
NewsWire, only on SportsGrid.
When LeBron James decides he's retiring, it is coming with trumpets blaring, Adam Silver by his side, and he is going on a state-by-state, coast-to-coast tour so that everyone can acknowledge how great he was and give him a parting gift and thank him for his amazing contributions to the NBA.
The Craig Carton Show, only on SportsGrid.
The play is our fam. You don't know about our fam? Go look her up on social media. Go look at YouTube. 19-year-old from Spain, 6'6", block shots, runs the floor, rebounds, post up, inside, outside, pop the corn, serve the beer, and it can clean up the mess when you're done eating your meal. This lady is absolutely fantastic.
Pro basketball today, only on SportsGrid.
Football contest season is back, and so is the Las Vegas Football Contest Show. Season 2, the sharpest football contest show in the land. Focusing on all 3 Circus Sports contests and the Westgate Superbook Super Contest, we handicap the games and release our contest picks every week of the season. Featuring Super Contest champions Brady Cannon, James Salinas, and former NFL player Mike Pritchard, all team will have you prepared this season like none other. Check us out every weekend right here on SportsGrid.
Welcome back to NewsWire here on SportsGrid. Adam Kaplan is here with us as we go over now, as we always do, his circle of trust, which it's like, I don't even know what to say here at this point. I mean, yes, the Bears won. Okay, great. Throw them in. They're going to lose next week. Throw them out. Denver, are you kidding me? New England? Like, I look, at this point, I feel like how many weeks have we? 14 weeks? Have we had 13 weeks? I feel like I have watched pretty much start to finish every game for 10 of the 13 weeks. Maybe my son was playing ball and I missed a few. And so I agree with the Rams in the NFC, and every team's going to have a hiccup. I still feel like Buffalo, to me, in a one-game scenario, playing in Buffalo, if they were able to get and maybe even playing in New England, I think like Buffalo would get it done. But I just, at this point, I'm not comfortable thinking that anybody can beat anybody consistently. Now, here's what I do know, Adam, on the flip side. If you're playing the Raiders, you're getting a bye. You're going to win. The Raiders are horrendous. The Titans are horrendous. So those teams, yes, you're going to win against them. But as far as like winning other games against other teams in the NFL, my confidence level is as low as it's been in years on these teams.
All right, so if you look at my list, right, Seahawks, that was it's hard for me to call them a breakout team. They were 9-8 last year, but I thought they absolutely could challenge for the division. I had them as a playoffs team, as one of my 7 teams in the NFC. But the Bears I just missed on. I didn't see it in year one because Caleb Williams struggled mightily last year. I understand the coaching wasn't very good. That matters. But we all kind of missed on the Bears. No one saw this coming. The Broncos, listen, there's a difference between fantasy and also wagering and reality. The Broncos defense is elite, okay? They do just enough on offense to win, but they're a team that I would, if you're in the wagering space, if they're playing a bad team, that bad team might not score, but I don't know if the Broncos are going to score. So if you're laying 12 or 13, I would not trust that team. If they're playing a good team and they're getting points, I'm going to take them because their defense could shut that team down. You have to understand the scenarios with these teams. Obviously, I moved Philly out. That's embarrassing what happened these last two games. This one was, not stopping the run of the Bears. The Bears picking up totally, Craig, that the Eagles have an issue with misdirection on their run defense. That's good to know if you've got a fantasy back going against the Eagles, particularly Hampton if he plays this coming week on Monday night. The Jaguars, see, Craig, when on my don't trust list, yeah, they could beat up they could beat up on the Titans. I know they beat the Chiefs in a wild game that the Chiefs never should have lost. But Trevor Lawrence and all the interceptions, I don't trust them. The Texans have trouble scoring. You mentioned the Bills. Which Bills team are you going to get? Their passing game has been mostly disappointing this season. James Cook is unbelievable. He's better than his brother Dalvin, if I could say that. I just did. Yeah. Their defense, you don't know from one week to the other how they're going to play in the secondary. So I don't trust them. The Panthers, unbelievable win. Okay, unbelievable win. But that's another team. You don't know what you're getting. So on your point, Craig, as I send it back to you, in terms of what this league looks like, other than the Rams, the Seahawks, if Darnold doesn't turn it over, they're really, really good. We know how the Bears they're pretty much there right now. Patriots, they've had a soft schedule. They've beaten pretty much everyone who's been ahead of them. NFL's longest win streak at 9. But other than that, how can you trust any of these teams? The Niners, they've had some nice wins, but Brock Purdy sometimes, the meltdowns, missing 2 major players on defense, you can't trust them just yet.
Right. I think that I would take the opposite view of that, which is every single team that you just named to me, maybe outside of Carolina, every team that you just named amongst the trust and not trust, it wouldn't surprise me at all to be in the Super Bowl. I just wouldn't be surprised, including Houston, including Jacksonville, all of them. Because a month ago it was, the Colts, maybe there, A month ago there was no discussion of the Bears. Now it's the Bears. So I'm just saying that none of the teams, that would surprise me to see it. Now, if you threw Pittsburgh in there, or if you threw, I don't know, the Chargers in there, I may say I don't think that those teams are going to get there. But I think that is the parity for me, is that it wouldn't surprise me. The reason why I just bring up Buffalo is because they have the best player overall at the most important position overall. So that guy is one outlier to me that can take over a game. I would have said that about the Ravens, but after watching Lamar Jackson, I don't know what you know about this, but it just does not appear that he is very healthy.
Yeah, physically, it's funny you say that because that's actually in my notes that it was a terrible loss to the Bengals. I just wonder, through everything he's been through physically this season, because he's missed time. The Colts now with the ankle fracture, I know that Jones is able to play with it, but he can't really run right now. That's part of it. What made him really, really good last year. In the past, with the Giants, this is his ability to run, and he can't really do it right now. And the Eagles, as I talked about, the offensive coordinator, Kevin Matullo, is going to continue to call the plays. Hasn't gone very well for him. Their passing game has been mostly atrocious this season. I mentioned the Lions. I'm out on the Lions totally. And then the Chiefs, they can't use injuries as an excuse. This is the one team out of all of them I've dropped out on. They have nothing to do with it. Their defense has dropped off. Mahomes is actually playing well right now. They're leaving some points on the field, but their defense under Spagnuolo, it's dropped off. They're not great at corner. Other teams tell me you just go opposite whoever McDuffie is covering. You go to the other side, and that's worked out for the opponent. The Chiefs have really disappointed me. Who is your biggest disappointment? Let me throw this back to you in a second here. My biggest disappointment has got to be the Chiefs. 6-6. Are you kidding me? They're by far my biggest disappointment for the reasons I just gave.
Yeah, but again, it's like, they're 11-6 at the end of the year. Not shocked, like that. Like, so I still think right. I'd have to judge it at the end just because of this insane league that we have here right now. That I'm just, honestly, the Raiders are shockingly this bad. I can't believe how bad the Raiders are. This bad?
Bad roster, man.
They're not going to win 4 games the whole year, 3 games the entire season.
Yeah, a lot of people thought that it's 8 or 9 wins because of Pete Carroll.
Not even 8 or 9. I don't care about that. 5?
Yeah.
4?
they're going to struggle to do it, man. They don't really do anything well.
They're the
That's
worst. Oh my God!
Yeah,
Geno Smith's falling over himself. They're throwing picks. Genty can't run. Crosby's the only guy on D. And I'm just look. I never thought the Raiders would be good this year. I did not think they would easily be the worst team. They're worse than Tennessee. They're worse than Tennessee. I'm shocked they're that bad.
Yeah, and Steelers, I'm so disappointed. And I, as you said, there's time left. They could still win the division.
Yeah,
and we got the 6-6 ball between the Ravens and the Steelers this week. Oh boy, can't wait.
Whoever's getting +3, give me them. All right.
Yeah,
Thank you, Adam. Have a good week.
Thanks, man. Funny.
When LeBron James decides he's retiring, it is coming with trumpets blaring, Adam Silver by his side, and he is going on a state-by-state, coast-to-coast tour so that everyone can acknowledge how great he was and give him a parting gift and thank him for his amazing contributions to the NBA.
The Craig Carton Show, only on SportsGrid.
The future of the prediction markets, I think, at least for now, may be in the hands of the federal courts. But the good news for those who support prediction markets is that these court battles may last for another 2 to 3 years before we get clarity around the law. And nominee Seelig was handpicked by Donald Trump, not because he was neutral on prediction markets, but because he would do nothing to slow it down.
NewsWire, only on SportsGrid.
He's the fan favorite. They love talking about Stafford, the 38-year-old guy. He's the Super Bowl champ. We got the family. Any opportunity to pump McVay and Stafford as a team, they do that. They love this team. They loved Aaron Donald, and rightfully so. Best defensive player, but they love to pump up Stafford.
Pro Football Today, only on SportsGrid.
Football contest season is back, and so is the Las Vegas Football Contest Show. Season 2, the sharpest football contest show in the land. Focusing on all 3 Circa Sports contests and the Westgate Superbook Super Contest, we handicap the games and release our contest picks every week of the season. Featuring Super Contest champions Brady Cannon, James Salinas, and former NFL player Mike Pritchard, all team will have you prepared this season like none other. Check us out every weekend right here on SportsGrid.
Welcome back to NewsWire here on SportsGrid as we get ready for another week of football here, Monday Night Football and Championship Week. Just a reminder that we have so much to cover over the month of December as we just entered this new month today. SportsGrid's a great spot for all of you with college bowl season, pro football playoffs as we get ready to, I can't believe, put a bow on another football season. It's crazy. It's coming to an end. Show's coming to an end. Happy for some people on that one. We'll hear from Cam Hayward, a Steeler popping off on a Bengal. We'll hear from another player on the Browns popping off on a member of the 49ers. And then what happened to Lane Kiffin's clothes when he said farewell to Oxford? Interesting. We'll have it all for you. It's time now for some last licks. It's getting to that time of the year where the players just don't like one another, right? A lot of hitting going on. It's been months. Guys want to wrap up the season, especially on some of these bad teams. Steelers, not a very good team this year. Cam Hayward, potential future Hall of Famer, I would say, in the NFL. Didn't exactly like the way that things went down in the game against the Buffalo Bills yesterday. There was some stuff that we actually didn't know about in that game yesterday, at least according to Cam Hayward, with a MVP of the league maybe giving him a knee and some trash talk as well. Here he is on Josh Allen.
With Josh Allen, it seemed a little bit of frustration early on. Can you talk about it or?
Being kneed in my stomach, and then just jawing back and forth, and then ticked off the entire game because as a quarterback they're protected, but I'm not. It just pisses me off.
You're saying he needs you or
Yes,
someone else?
that's exactly what I'm saying.
Did you cross the line throughout the game, or was it that one incident?
That was that one incident.
Was that on purpose by him?
Yes. He even said after, I had to do something to get you off me.
I think that would have been the most inflammatory comment from one player about another player this weekend. But we got one even better. You may remember Jawan Jennings of the San Francisco 49ers last week, okay? Do you remember us doing this last week on Last Licks, where he was punched in the groin by a player on the Carolina Panthers, and they suspended that player on the Carolina Panthers for a week? Well, I mean, maybe there was something that happened that we were not aware of, because check this out. Browns defensive tackle Shelby Harris, who played against Jennings this week, says that Jennings last week deserved that punch. Take a listen.
He's a hoe, and I want that known. Like, I see why he got punched in the nuts, because that's he says some things that you should not say to another man ever. But I don't respect it, because you say that, then run behind your O-line. That's some real soft, and I want that known. I see exactly why they punched you in the nuts. I'm surprised nobody punched him in the jaw yet.
Wow. Okay. So here's what we know. It appears that Jawan Jennings likes to talk trash, but there seems to be some intimation that he is talking trash about some things that are apparently crossing the line in the National Football League. Now, I have no idea what those are, and I'm not going to make any assumptions, but for one player to say that another player, forget about the name that he called him, for one player to say to another player that he deserved to be punched there, I think we're going to get a lot more out of the story. Unfortunately, the 49ers are off this week. They're on a bye. Lane Kiffin is the head coach at Mississippi, and he decides that he's going to leave the school and he's going to go coach at LSU and not even coach in the college football playoff, which is where Mississippi is headed. And yes, he wanted to coach, but the school is not going to let him. They are so upset with Lane Kiffin leaving Mississippi and the way that he did that yesterday a social media post came out showing that they not only said farewell to him, they said farewell to his clothing. That is right. Look at this social media post. The suits that Lane Kiffin wore that were at the facility with Ole Miss sent out into the parking lot. I don't know if anybody picked up those suits for Lane Kiffin. They look like very nice, expensive suits. I could wear some of them here on SportsGrid. But nonetheless, I could spend a lot of time on this. I think I'll do it with Bill Bender when you join the show tomorrow. Kind of hard to indict a guy for pursuing another school, pursuing his dream, pursuing more money. We could talk about how he did it and why, but this got way more attention than I think it should have. By the way, college football is allowing coaches to leave before the playoffs. Rick Pitino posted that yesterday too on social media. He's 100% right. Just change the rules and this wouldn't happen. That'll do it for our show today. Thanks again to Jacob Kamaker for coming on the show, Joe Ranieri, Adam Kaplan. We were supposed to have Vinny Iyer. We had some technical difficulties. We couldn't get it done, but we got it all fixed. And I'll be back with you tomorrow for our next edition of NewsWire. Thanks again to our director, Luke, for my producer, Frank. I'm Craig Mish. Have fun on Monday Night Football tonight. See you back here Tuesday for our next edition of NewsWire. We will see you then. Have a great Monday, everyone.